And so you're working on day one. You're in New Hampshire. You've been to this meeting before, right?
No, sir.
Oh, no, you don't have to call me sir. You,
Sorry.
you just call me the risen Christ. You
Can
know,
you hear me
he's
now?
risen. Hey, Tim, how are you? Where are you
I'm
calling
good.
from and how long are you sober?
Uh, Kansas in June 12th, 09. Yeah, for some reason my Air, AirPods weren't weren't
Yeah.
working, so I'll just do this, I guess.
So you're in Kansas and you have how long you been sober?
June 12th of 09. So I mean, the
Oh,
same program for someone that has 20 days
oh,
works for someone that has
nice.
15 years. Yeah.
15 years, is that it?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's deadly. All right, glad you're here. Welcome aboard, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are you? You're down in South
All
Beach,
right.
Florida.
I'm doing okay. Jeff Alcoholic here.
Yep.
Doing
They have
okay.
AA down there in South Beach?
Oh, they do indeed. Yes.
Yep.
A little
Yeah.
sober room, sober club, SOBE, South Beach. Yep.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Hi.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Sure thing. Okay, so we're ready to go. And then Preston, if you can put everything up to read. And then, hey, Rebecca, I have a question for you. Can you read from your computer? Are you in a place where you can read today?
Sure.
Okay, so Rebecca is going to introduce this meeting to everybody. And then you can also start your video now. So over to you, Rebecca.
Hi, welcome, Rebecca Alcoholic. Please follow along in chat. Welcome to Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop. If you are new to AA or coming back, this meeting is for you. This group is exactly what the name says, a workshop. We read 6 AA books, work the steps, sponsor you, and give reading and writing assignments. We will teach you an AA program. We move right along here and people get well here. Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop is a step workshop. Unlike most AA meetings, it is not a speaker's meeting nor a discussion meeting. It is more like an AA class, AA 101, AA University. You want to have the attitude of learning and do the assigned reading and writing on the steps. We will take you through the steps and AA books in short order. If you are looking for guidance and direction in an AA program, this meeting is for you. Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop on Zoom is a very unique meeting since we use the same principles AA used between 1932 and 1939. Everybody works in the group and moves through the 12 steps to live our lives free from alcohol and learn a new way of living. We're glad you can make it. Here is the newcomers packet for those new to AA. It has pamphlets and information about Alcoholics Anonymous. You'll follow along in the chat in the link below. Security for Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop on Zoom. We have cameras and chat turned off. You can chat only with co-hosts. We do all of the above for safety reasons. Zoom bombers try to get in, this eliminates them. We don't allow group sharing in chat or exchange of phone numbers. This is an AA step class. Since everyone is new here, we want to protect you. Meeting confirmation. Here is our email for meeting confirmation. stepworkshop1@gmail.com for class, work, probation, court, etc. And that is also a link in the chat. Announcements. Seventh tradition, contributions. You can make donations to @Jann-Scott in Venmo or Cash App. Stop. Jack Fox 111999. PayPal, good for international. To Jann Scott, jannscottlive@gmail.com, 720-646-6131. Contributions go to pay for Zoom, Boulder 1 AA, Boulder County AA, OIOAA Intergroup, and Father Terry's work. We offer free books to those in need. We spend about $350 a month every month. Suggested donations are $1 to $2 per meeting or the price of a 12-pack of Bud, 12 ounce per month, $18.99. This group meets daily with the following formats: Monday, 12 by 12, step study. Tuesday, big book. Wednesday, as Bill sees it. Thursday, came to believe, dog Thursday. Friday, cat Friday. Saturday, living sober. Sunday, daily reflections. Preamble. AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. Please join me in this serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. New to this meeting, please come for 5 days to see how you like it. Then we will put you to work. Again, please come for 5 days to see how you like it. This meeting is recorded with audio only for our podcast on YouTube channel. No video, pictures, or names show. No one will know you are here. Our podcast is YouTube channel, Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop AA meeting. The link is right below that in chat. And finally, everyone, please introduce yourself as an alcoholic when speaking. Thank you for being here. And now back to you, Jan, in the studio.
All right. Hey, thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, our YouTube channel is really pretty cool. All the classes are there. You can go to any step that you want in our YouTube channel and listen to the class on those steps. They're really very good. And some people like them a lot. Like Missy goes and listens to them all the time. We have other people that dig into them. So they're very helpful. So anyways, I'm Jan Alcoholic. We're still clearing the room for Zoom bombers. So I just have to ask a couple other people that are here, who you are, et cetera, et cetera. So, hey, Barbara's iPad. Hi, if you could unmute, come on in, talk to me, please. Are you here for the AA meeting? And where are you calling from? And how long have you been sober? Jan to Barbara. Everybody has to talk to me or we remove you. Hi, how's it going?
Hi, I'm not used to meetings being so invasive, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
check out.
this one is
That's
this is
okay, I got it. I know, I'm used to
this is
you.
a
I'll get
class.
off. Bye.
Oh, bye. Oh, you broke my heart. Okay, she wanted to fight. Hey, Logan, hi, how are you? Are you here for the AA meeting? And where are you calling from today?
Yeah, I am here for the AA meeting. I'm coming from Ontario today.
Oh, yeah. And how long have you been sober?
I'm day number 6 after coming back or going back out. So today's number 6 after coming back in for me.
Oh, good. Glad you're here. I guess you've been to AA before, huh?
Yes, I have. Yes.
How long have you ever had any time sober or what?
I've had maximum I've had was 6 months sober.
Yeah. All right, well, this is the meeting for you. This is Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop. And this is where people come and get sober and stay sober. So hang out, you'll like it. Lori, hi, how are you? Welcome back. Where are you calling from and how long have you been sober?
Hi, I was on before I got disconnected. Cincinnati, Ohio, 3 days.
Okay, glad you're here. Cincinnati. Isn't that where you're from, Lisa? You're from somewhere around there, right? No? Okay. You're from Cleveland, the heart of rock and roll. Rhonda, help me. Hey, Rhonda, hi, how are you?
I'm good.
And
My name's Rhonda. I'm alcoholic from Alaska. I'm back to day 1 after relapsing.
hey, whereabouts in Alaska are you?
In the valley.
It's called the Valley of the Ho 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 Green Giant? No, where? I never heard of
The
it.
Matanuska Valley.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a drinking problem in Alaska. Wait,
Yeah.
are you kidding? Turn the lights off for a long time, see if everybody drinks. So
Yeah.
glad you're here. I guess you've been to AA before?
Yeah, a little bit. I was in rehab. I just got out on the 6th, and
And you drank?
yeah,
Isn't that tough? How long were you in rehab for?
only 30 days.
30, and was it a 30-day rehab in Alaska itself?
No, I actually went to Florida, and
Wonder you came back to Alaska and got drunk.
yeah,
Look,
yep,
I'd do
that's
the
what
same
happened.
thing. I'd be like, this sucks. I'm going to the liquor store.
Yep.
Jeff's in Florida. Wow. Okay. So, hey, what do you do in Alaska? Are you from there? Were you born there?
Yeah, I
Or
was born here.
really, what do you do there? Are you like, do you live in an igloo and stuff or what?
No,
No? Okay.
no.
Are you a fisherman?
I do fish, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a
Because I
little
watched,
small hobby farm too, so
but I watched the TV show, about fishing in the Bering Strait.
yeah, I don't fish there.
Okay. Okay, hey, glad you're here.
Thank you.
This is the meeting for you. It really is. It's a newcomer slipper step workshop, everybody. And as Rebecca was saying, this is a newcomer slipper step workshop. It's a class. It's a workshop. And everybody works. And come for 5 days, and then we'll put you to work. And we'll take you through all the different steps and everything. So now, last week, we left off on step 11 in the 12 by 12. And today we are reading step 12 in the 12 by 12. And how many pages is that, Preston? Or
A
any,
lot. It's a lot.
how many?
Like 15.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's start reading. Maybe you could read, those of you who like to read, let's read 2 pages at a time. And Preston put a link up to it right there. Everybody follow along, and we'll start with Chaz. Go ahead, Chaz.
Morning, everyone. Chaz, alcoholic. Step 12, this is on page 106 in the 12 by 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. The joy of living is the theme of AA's 12 step, and action is its key word. Here we turn our outward toward our fellow alcoholics who are still in distress. Here we experience the kind of giving that asks no rewards. Here we begin to practice all 12 steps of the program in our daily lives so that we and those about us may find emotional sobriety. When the 12th step is seen in its full implication, it is really talking about the kind of love that has no price tag on it. Our 12th step also says that as a result of practicing all the steps, we have each found something called a spiritual awakening. To new AAs, this often seems like a very dubious and improbable state of affairs. What do you mean when you talk about a spiritual awakening, they ask. Maybe there are as many definitions of spiritual awakening as there are people who have had them. But certainly each genuine one has something in common with all the others. And these things which they have in common are not too hard to understand. When a man or a woman has a spiritual awakening, the most important meaning of it is that he has now become able to do, feel, and believe that which he could not do before on his unaided strength and resources alone. He has been granted a gift which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. He has been set on a path which tells him he is really going somewhere, that life is not a dead end, not something to be endured or mastered. In a very real sense, he has been transformed because he has laid hold of a source of strength which, in one way or another, he had hitherto denied himself. He finds himself in the possession of a degree of honesty, tolerance, unselfishness, peace of mind, and love of which he had thought himself quite incapable. What he has received is a free gift, and yet usually, at least in some small part, he has made himself ready to receive it. AA's manner of making ready to receive this gift lies in the practice of the 12 steps in our program. So let's consider briefly what we have been trying to do up to this point. Step 1 showed us an amazing paradox. We found that we were totally unable to be rid of the alcohol obsession until we first admitted that we were powerless over it. In step 2, we saw that since we could not restore ourselves to sanity, some higher power must necessarily do so if we were to survive. Consequently, in step 3, we turned our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. For the time being, we who were atheists or agnostics discovered that our own group or AA as a whole would suffice as a higher power. Beginning with step 4, we commenced to search out the things in ourselves which had brought us to physical, moral, and spiritual bankruptcy. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory. Looking at step 5, we decided that an inventory taken alone wouldn't be enough. We knew we would have to quit the deadly business of living alone with our conflicts and in honesty confide these to God and another human being. At step 6, many of us balked for the practical reason that we did not wish to have all these defects of character removed because we still love some of them too much. Yet we knew we had to make a settlement with the fundamental principle of step 6. So we decided that while we still had some flaws of character that we could not yet relinquish, we ought nevertheless to quit our stubborn, rebellious hanging on to them. We said to ourselves, this I cannot do today. Perhaps I can stop crying out, no, never. Then in step 7, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings, such as he could or would under the conditions of the day we asked. In step 8, we continued our house cleaning, for we saw that we were not only in conflict with ourselves, but also with people and situations in the world in which we lived. We had to begin to make our peace, and so we listed the people we had harmed and became willing to set things right. We followed this up in step 9 by making direct amends to those concerned, except when it would injure them or other people. By this time at step 10, we had begun to get a basis for daily living, and we keenly realised that we would need to continue taking personal inventory and that when we were in wrong, we ought to admit it promptly. Step 11, we saw that if a higher power had restored us to sanity and had enabled us to live with some peace of mind in a sorely troubled world, then such a higher power was worth knowing better by as direct contact as possible. The persistent use of meditation and prayer, we found, did open the channel so that where there had been a trickle, there now was a river which led to sure power and safe guidance from God as we were increasingly better able to understand him.
All right. Jeff, incidentally, do you see how Chaz read that? She read it with a great deal of intention that people get her communication. Brilliantly read. And everybody that reads here wants to work on that so that when you're reading something here, you're telling a story, you're communicating it in a way that people get it. So there you go. Go ahead, Jeff, you're up. If you could read 2 pages at least.
Alcoholic, South Florida. So page 109, step 12. So practicing these steps, we had a spiritual awakening about which finally there was no question. Looking at those who were only beginning and still doubted themselves, the rest of us were able to see the change setting in. From great numbers of such experiences, we could predict that the doubter who still claimed that he hadn't got the spiritual angle and who still considered his well-loved AA group the higher power would presently love God and call him by name. Now, what about the rest of the 12th step? The wonderful energy it releases and the eager action by which it carries out our message to the next suffering alcoholic, and which translates finally into the 12 steps into action upon all our affairs, is the payoff, the magnificent reality of Alcoholics Anonymous. Even the newest of newcomers finds undreamed rewards as he tries to help his brother alcoholic, the one who was even blinder than he. This is indeed the kind of giving that actually demands nothing. He does not expect his brother sufferer to pay him or even to love him. And then he discovers that by divine paradox of this kind of giving, he has found his own reward, whether his brother has yet received anything or not. His own character may still be gravely defective, but somehow he knows that God has enabled him to make a mighty beginning, and he senses that he stands at the edge of new mysterious joys and experiences of which he had never dreamed. Practically every AA member declares that no satisfaction has been deeper and no joy greater than in 12-step work well done. To watch the eyes of men and women open with wonder as they move from darkness into light, to see their lives quickly fill with new purpose and meaning, to see whole families reassembled, to see the alcoholic outcast received back into his community in full citizenship, and above all, to watch these people awaken to the presence of God in their lives. These things are the substance of what we receive as we carry God's message to the next alcoholic. Nor is this the only kind of 12-step work. We sit in AA meetings and listen not only to receive something ourselves, but to give the reassurance and support which our presence can bring. Now, if our turn comes to speak at a meeting, we again try to carry the AA message. Whether our audience is one or many, it is still 12-step work. There are many opportunities, even for those of us who feel unable to speak at meetings or who are so situated that we cannot do much face-to-face 12-step work. We can be the ones who take on the unspectacular but important tasks that make 12-step work possible. Perhaps arranging for the coffee and cake after the meetings, where so many skeptical, suspicious newcomers have found confidence and comfort in the laughter and talk. This is 12-step work in the very best sense of the word. Freely ye have received, freely give is the core of this part of step 12. We may often pass through 12-step experiences where we will seem temporarily off the beam. These will appear as big setbacks at the time, but will often be seen later as stepping stones to better things. For example, we may set our hearts on getting a particular person sobered up, and after doing all we can for months, we see him relapse. Perhaps this will happen in a succession of cases, and we may be deeply discouraged as our ability to carry the AA message. Or we may encounter the reverse situation in which we are highly elated because we seem to have been successful. Now here the temptation is to become rather possessive of the newcomers. Perhaps we try to give them advice about their affairs which we aren't really competent to give or ought to give at all. Then we are hurt and confused when the advice is rejected, or when it is accepted and brings still greater confusion. By a great deal of ardent 12-step work, we sometimes carry the message to so many alcoholics that they place us in a position of trust. They make us, let us say, the group's chairman. Here again, we are presented with the temptation to overmanage things, and sometimes this results in rebuffs and other consequences which are hard to take. But in the longer run, we clearly realize that these are only the pains of growing up, and nothing but good can come from them if we turn more and more to the entire 12 steps for the answers. Now comes the biggest question yet. What about the practice of these principles in all our affairs? Can we love the whole pattern of living eagerly as we do the small segment of it we discover when we try to help other alcoholics achieve sobriety? Can we bring the same spirit of love and tolerance into our sometimes deranged family lives that we bring into our AA group? Can we have the same kind of confidence and faith in these people who have been infected and sometimes crippled by our own illness that we have in our sponsors? Can we actually carry the AA spirit into our daily work? Can we meet with our newly recognized responsibilities to the world at large? And can we bring new purpose and devotion to the religion of our choice? Can we, go ahead. Okay, can we find new joy of living and trying to do something for above all these things? Thank you.
Okay, stop right there, Jeff. That's perfect. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, Therese. You have to unmute her. Okay.
Trees alcoholic. Furthermore, how shall we come to terms with seeming failure or success? Can we now accept and adjust to either without despair or pride? Can we accept poverty, sickness, loneliness, and bereavement with courage and serenity? Can we steadfastly content ourselves with the humbler, yet sometimes more durable satisfactions when the brighter, more glittering achievements are denied us? The AA answer to these questions about living is yes, all of these things are possible. We know this because we see monotony, pain, and even calamity turn to good use by those who keep on trying to practice AA's 12 steps. And if these facts of life for the many alcoholics who have recovered in AA, and if these facts of life, they can become the facts of life for many more. Of course, all AAs, even the best, fall short of such achievements as a consistent thing. Without necessarily taking the first drink, we often get quite far off the beam. Our troubles sometimes begin with indifference. We are sober and happy in our AA work. Things go well at home and office. We naturally congratulate ourselves on what later proves to be a far too easy and superficial point of view. We temporarily cease to grow because we feel satisfied that there's no need for all of the AA's 12 steps for us. We're doing fine on a few of them. Maybe we're doing fine on only 2 of them, the first step and part of the 12th, where we carry the message. In AA slang, that blissful state is known as two-stepping, and it can go on for years. The best intentioned of us can fall for the two-step illusion. Sooner or later, the pink cloud stage wears off and things go disappointingly dull. We begin to think that AA doesn't pay off at all. We become puzzled and discouraged. Then perhaps life, as it has a way of doing, suddenly hands us a great big lump that we can't begin to swallow, let alone digest. We fail to get a worked-for promotion. We lose that good job. Maybe there are serious domestic or romantic difficulties, or perhaps that boy we thought God was looking after became a military casualty. What then? Have we alcoholics in AA got, or can we get, the resources to meet the calamities which come to so many? These were problems of life which we could never face up to. Can we now, with the help of God as we understand Him, handle them as well and as bravely as our non-alcoholic friends often do? Can we transform these calamities into assets, sources of growth and comfort to ourselves and those about us? Well, we surely have a chance if we switch from two-stepping to 12-stepping. If we're willing to receive that grace of God, which can sustain and strengthen us in any catastrophe. Our basic troubles are the same as everyone else's, but when an honest effort is made to practice these principles in all our affairs, well-grounded AAs seem to have the ability, by God's grace, to take these troubles in stride and turn them into demonstration of faith. We have seen AA suffer lingering and fatal illness with little complaint and often in good cheer. We have sometimes seen families broken apart by misunderstanding, tensions, or actual infidelity, who are reunited by the AA way of life. Though the earning power of most AAs is relatively high, we have some members who never seem to get on their feet money-wise, and still others who encounter heavy financial reverses. Ordinarily, we see these situations met with fortitude and faith. Like most people, we have found that we can take our big lumps as they come, but also like others, we have often discovered a great challenge in the lesser and more continuous problems of our lives. Our answer is in still more spiritual development. Only by this means can we improve our chances for really happy and useful living. As we grow spiritually, we find that our old attitudes to our instincts need to undergo drastic revisions. Our desires for emotional security and wealth, for personal prestige and power, for romance, and for family satisfactions, all these have to be tempered and redirected. We have learned that satisfaction of instincts cannot be the sole end and aim of our lives. If we place instincts first, we have got the cart before the horse. We shall be pulled backward into delusionment. But when we are willing to place spiritual growth first, then and only then do we have a real chance.
Stop right there. Over to you, May. Top of page 115.
Okay, May alcoholic. After we come into AA, if we go on growing, our attitudes and actions towards security, emotional security, and financial security commence to change profoundly. Our demand for emotional security for our own way had constantly thrown us into unworkable relations with other people. Though we were sometimes quite unconscious of this, the result always had been the same. Either we had tried to play God and dominate those about us, or we had insisted on being over-dependent upon them. Where people had temporarily let us run their lives as though they were still children, we had felt very happy and secure ourselves. But when they finally resisted or ran away, we were bitterly hurt and disappointed. We blamed them, being quite unable to see that our unreasonable demands had been the cause. When we had taken the opposite tact and had insisted, like infants ourselves, that people protect and take care of us, or that the world owed us a living, then the result had been equally unfortunate. This often caused the people we had loved most to push us aside or perhaps desert us entirely. Our disillusionment had been hard to bear. We couldn't imagine people acting that way toward us. We had failed to see that though adult in years, we were still behaving childishly, trying to turn everybody, friends, wives, husbands, even the world itself, into protective parents. We had refused to learn the very hard lesson that overdependence upon people is unsuccessful because all people are fallible and even the best of them will sometimes let us down, especially when our demands for attention become unreasonable. As we made spiritual progress, we sat through these fallacies. It became clear that if we ever were to feel emotionally secure among grown-up people, we would have to put our lives on the give and take basis. We would have to develop a sense of being in partnership or brotherhood with all around us. We saw that we would need to give constantly of ourselves without demands for repayment. When we persistently did this, we gradually found that people were attracted to us as never before. And even if they failed us, we could be understanding and not too seriously affected. When we developed still more, we discovered the best possible source of emotional stability is to be God Himself. We found that dependence upon His perfect justice, forgiveness, and love was healthy, and it would work where nothing else would. If we really depended upon God, we couldn't very well play God to our fellows, nor would we feel the urge wholly to rely on human protection and care. These were the new attitudes that finally brought many of us an inner strength and peace that could not be deeply shaken by the shortcomings of others or by any calamity not known of our own making. This new outlook, we learned something especially necessary to us alcoholics. For alcoholism had been a lonely business, even though we had been surrounded by people who loved us. But when self-will had driven everybody away and our isolation had become complete, it caused us to play the big shot in cheap bar rooms and then far forth alone on the street to depend upon the charity of a passerby. We were still trying to find emotional security by being dominating or dependent upon others.
Stop right there. And over to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly Alcoholic. Even when our fortunes had not ebbed that much, and we nevertheless found ourselves alone in the world, we still vainly tried to be secure by some unhealthy kind of domination or dependence. For those of us who were like that, AA had a very special meaning. Through it, we begin to learn right relations with people who understand us. We don't have to be alone anymore. Most married folks in AA have very happy homes. To a surprising extent, AA has offset the damage to family life brought about by years of alcoholism. But just like all there's other societies, we do have sex and marital problems, and sometimes they are distressingly acute. Permanent marriage breakups and separations, however, are unusual in AA. Our main problem is not how we are to stay married, it is how to be more happily married by eliminating the severe emotional twists that have so often stemmed from alcoholism. Nearly every sound human being experiences at some time in life a compelling desire to find a partner with whom the fullest possible union can be made. Spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. This mighty urge is the root of great human accomplishments, a creative energy that deeply influences our lives. God fashioned us that way. So our question will be this: how, by ignorance, compulsion, and self-will, do we misuse this gift for our own destruction? We AAs cannot pretend to offer full answers to age-old perplexities, but our own experience does provide certain answers that work for us. When alcoholism strikes, very unnatural situations may develop which work against marriage partnerships and compatible union. If the man is affected, the wife must become the head of the house, often the breadwinner. As matters get worse, the husband becomes a sick and irresponsible child who needs to be looked after and extricated from endless scrapes and impasses. Very gradually and usually without any realization of the fact, the wife is forced to become the mother of an erring boy. And if she had a strong maternal instinct to begin with, the situation is aggravated. Obviously, not much partnership can exist under these conditions. The wife usually goes on doing the best she knows knows how, but meanwhile, the alcoholic alternately loves and hates her maternal care. A pattern is thereby established that may take a lot of undoing later on. Nevertheless, under the influence of AA's 12 steps, these situations are often set right. When the distortion has become great, however, a long period of patient striving may be necessary. After the husband joins AA, the wife may become discontented and even highly resentful that Alcoholics Anonymous has done the very thing that all her years of devotion had failed to do. Her husband may become so wrapped up in AA and his new friends that he is inconsiderately away from home more than when he drank. Seeing her unhappiness, he recommends AA's 12 steps and tries to teach her how to live. She naturally feels that for years she has made a far better job of living than he has. Both of them blame each other and ask when their marriage is ever going to be happy again. They may even begin to suspect it had never been any good in the first place.
Okay, stop right there. Caleb, over to you.
I'm alcoholic. Compatibility, of course, can be so impossibly damaged that a separation may be necessary, but those cases are the unusual ones. The alcoholic realizing what his wife has endured has now fully understanding how much he himself did to damage her and his children, nearly always takes up his marriage responsibilities with a willingness to repair what he can, and to accept what he can't. He persistently tries all of AA's 12 steps in his home, often with fine results. At this point, he firmly but lovingly commences to behave like a partner instead of like a bad boy. And above all, he is finally convinced that reckless romancing is not a way of life for him. AA has many single alcoholics who wish to marry and are in a position to do so. Some marry fellow AAs. How do they come out? On the whole, these marriages are very good ones. Their common suffering as drinkers, their common interest in AA and spiritual things often enhance such unions. It is only where boy meets girl on AA campus and love follows at first sight that difficulties may develop. The prospective partners need to be solid AAs and long enough acquainted to know that their compatibility at spiritual, mental, and emotional levels is a fact and not wishful thinking. They need to be sure as possible that no deep-lying emotional handicap in either will be likely to rise up under late pressures to cripple them. The considerations are equally true and important for the AAs who marry outside AA. With clear understanding and right, grown-up attitudes, very happy results do follow. And what can be said of many AA members who, for a variety of reasons, cannot have a family life? At first, many of these feel lonely, hurt, and left out as they witness so much domestic happiness about them. If they cannot have this kind of happiness, can AA offer them satisfactions of similar worth and durability? Yes, whenever they try hard to seek them out. Surrounded by so many AA friends, these so-called loners tell us they no longer feel alone. In partnership with others, women and men, they can devote themselves to any number of ideas, people, and constructive projects. Free of marital responsibilities, they can participate in enterprises which would be denied to family men and women. We daily see such members render prodigies of service and receive great joys in return. Where the possession of money and material things was concerned, our outlook underwent the same revolutionary change. With a few exceptions, all of us had been spendthrifts. We threw money about in every direction with the purpose of pleasing ourselves and impressing other people. In our drinking time, we acted as if money supply was inexhaustible, though between binges we'd sometimes go to the other extreme and become almost miserly. Without realizing it, we were just accumulating funds for the next spree. Money was the symbol of pleasure and self-importance. When our drinking had become much worse, money was only an urgent requirement which could supply us with the next drink and the temporary comfort of oblivion it brought. Upon entering AA, these attitudes were sharply reversed, often going much too far in the opposite direction. The spectacle of years of waste threw us into panic. There simply wouldn't be time, we thought, to rebuild our shattered fortunes. How could we ever take care of those awful debts, possess a decent home, educate the kids, and set something by for old age? Financial importance was no longer our principal aim. We now clamoured for material security. Even when we were well established in our business, these terrible fears often continued to haunt us. This made us misers and penny pinchers all over again. Complete financial security we must have, or else. We forgot that most alcoholics in AA have an earning power considerably above average. We forgot the immense goodwill of our brother AAs who were only too eager to help us to better jobs when we deserved them. We forgot the actual or potential financial insecurity of every human being in the world. And worst of all, we forgot God. In money matters, we had faith only in ourselves, and not too much of that. This all meant, of course, that we were still far off balance. When a job still looked like a mere means of getting money rather than an opportunity for service, when the acquisition of money for financial independence looked more important than the right dependence upon God, we were still the victims of unreasonable fears. And these were fears which would make a serene and useful existence at any financial level quite impossible. But as time passed, we found that with the help of AA's 12 steps, we could lose those fears no matter what our material prospects were. We could cheerfully perform humble labor without worrying about tomorrow. If our
Right there. So, okay, thank you for reading. And then let's go. Hey, Kelly, did you want to read? Did you have your hand up?
This Kelly's read.
No, I'm talking to this one.
Oh,
Kelly.
sorry.
Come on, girl.
But as time passed, we found that with the help of AA's 12 steps, we could lose those fears no matter what our material prospects were. We could cheerfully perform humble labor without worrying about tomorrow. If our circumstances happened to be good, we no longer dreaded a change for the worse, for we had learned that these troubles could be turned into great values. It did not matter too much what our material condition was, but it did matter what our spiritual condition was. Money gradually became our servant and not our master. It became a means of exchanging love and service with those about us. When, with God's help, we calmly accepted our loss, then we found we could live in peace with ourselves and show others who still suffered the same fears that they could get over them too. We found that freedom from fear was more important than freedom from want. Let's take note of our improved outlook upon the problems of personal importance, power, ambition, and leadership. There were reefs upon which many of us came to shipwreck during our drinking careers. Practiced Practically, practically every boy in the United States dreams of becoming our president. He wants to be his country's #1 man. As he gets older and sees the impossibility of this, he can smile good-naturedly at his childhood dream. In later life, he finds that real happiness is not to be found in just trying to be a #1 man or even a first rattler in the heartbreaking struggle for money, romance, or self-importance. He learns that he can be content as long as he plays well whatever cards life deals him. He's still ambitious, but not absurdly so, because he can now see and accept actual reality. He's willing to stay the right size.
Yep, stop right there. Okay, so hey, Therese, did you read yet? You did read. Okay, good. And then how about, okay, let's go over to Rebecca. You want to read?
Hi, Rebecca, alcoholic. I'll try. My dog started barking, so hopefully he won't again. But not so with alcoholics. When AA was quite young, a number of eminent psychologists and doctors made an exhaustive study of a good-sized group of so-called problem drinkers. The doctors weren't trying to find out how different we were from one another. They sought to find whatever personality traits, if any, this group of alcoholics had in common. They finally came up with a conclusion that shocked the AA members at that time. These distinguished men had the nerve to say that most of the alcoholics under investigation were still childish, emotionally sensitive, and grandiose. How we alcoholics did resent that verdict. We would not believe that our adult dreams were often truly childish. And considering the rough deal life had given us, we felt it perfectly natural that we were sensitive. As to our grandiose behavior, we insisted that we had been possessed of nothing but a high and legitimate ambition to win the battle of life. In the years since, however, most of us have come to agree with those doctors. We have had much keener look at ourselves and those about us. We have seen that we were prodded by unreasonable fears or anxieties into making a life business of winning fame, money, and what we thought was leadership. So false pride became the reverse side of that ruinous coin marked fear. We simply had to be #1 people to cover up our deep-lying inferiorities. In fitful successes, we boasted of greater feats to be done. In defeat, we were bitter. If we didn't have much of any worldly success, we became depressed and cowed. Then people said we were of the inferior type, but now we see ourselves as chips of the same old block. At heart, we had all been abnormally fearful. It mattered little whether we had sat on the shore of life drinking ourselves into forgetfulness or had plunged into recklessly and willfully beyond our depth and ability. The result was the same. All of us had nearly perished in the sea of alcohol. But today, in well-matured AAs, these distorted drives have been restored to something like their true purpose and direction. We no longer strive to dominate or rule those about us in order to gain self-importance. We no longer seek fame and honor in order to be praised. When by devoted service to family, friends, business, or community, we attract widespread affection and are sometimes singled out for posts of greater responsibility and trust. We try
Stop
to
right there. So we'll, before your dog decides to take over and start reading himself, we like that. Oh, hey, go ahead, Lisa. You want to pick it up from there?
Sure. I'm sorry, I lost my place. What page? We try to be. I'm sorry, what page? 123?
No. Keep guessing. Somebody tell her.
Tell me.
Okay, come on, gang.
124.
124?
124, good. And I think you're at
just after when by devoted service to family, friends, and business.
first paragraph, halfway down.
Third paragraph, sorry.
Yeah, halfway down.
halfway down.
When by devoted service to family and friends.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, when by devoted service to family, friends, business, or community, we attract widespread affection and are sometimes singled out for posts of greater responsibility and trust, we try to be humbly grateful and exert ourselves the more in spirit of love and service. True leadership, we find, depends upon able example and not upon vain displays of power or glory. Still, more wonderful is the feeling that, excuse me, that we do not have to be specifically distinguished among our fellows in order to be useful and profoundly happy. Not many of us can be leaders of prominence, nor do we wish to be. Service gladly rendered, obligations squarely met, troubles well accepted or solved with God's help. The knowledge that at home or in the world outside, we are partners in a common effort. The well understood fact that in God's sight all human beings are important. The proof that lovely freely given surely brings a full return. The certainty that we are no longer isolated and alone in self-destructive prisons, the surety that we need no longer be square pegs and round holes, but can fit and belong in God's scheme of things. These are the permanent and legitimate satisfactions of right living, for which no amount of pomp and circumstance, no heap of material possessions could possibly be substitutes. True ambition is not what we thought it was. True
Stop
ambition
right
is
there. Okay, so hang on here for a minute, and then let's see who else didn't get a chance to read. I know who. Dun, 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 dun. Did where is she? Lori, April, Missy, Mayred, Scar, Ryan in Johnstown. You want to finish this up? Are you with us? Turn your camera on. Read from the book. There he is. I'll unmute you. You have to unmute though. There he is.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. True ambition is a deep desire to live usefully and walk humbly under the grace of God. These little studies of AA, 12 steps, now come to a close. We have been considering so many problems that it may appear that AA consists mainly of racking dilemmas and troubleshooting. To a certain extent, that is true. We have been talking about problems because we are problem people who have found a way up and out, and who wish to share our knowledge of that way with all who can use it. For it is only by accepting and solving our problems that we can begin to get rich or right with ourselves and with the world about us, and with Him who presides over us all. Understanding is the key to right principles and attitudes, and right action is the key to good living. Therefore, the joy of good living is the theme of AA's 12th step. With each passing day of our lives, may every one of us sense more deeply the inner meaning of AA's simple prayer. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
All right, everybody, thank you for reading. One of the things that this last page here, it says, these little studies of AA's 12 steps now come to a close. We have been considering, here it is, so many problems that it may appear that AA consists mainly of racking dilemmas and troubleshooting. To a certain extent, that is true. So I spent a good part of my first 11 years in that. Trouble, dilemmas, solving problems, conflict, crises, constantly going on, as you've heard me say here before, until I found a group like this and was able to work my way through. But then really it was only until much later that this meeting opened And what we do here is we focus on exactly what they're talking about. So we've been talking about problems because we are problem people who have found, here it is, a way and out, and who wish to share our knowledge of that way with others who can use it. For it's only by accepting and solving our problems that we can begin to get right with ourselves and with the world about us. So that was a real problem for me because I could never get right with myself. I thought I thought that everything was a conflict. Life was a conflict. Everything was a crisis. I was in crisis. So I brought all of my family behavior, old behavior, right with me into sobriety and lived in madness until I got to this group. And, look what it does here. It forces us to address the issues at hand and resolve them. It's kind of like that lady that was here and she was like, oh, Toad, no, this is not for me. I'm used to AA meetings where nobody confronts me. We talk about what we want. Yeah, we run our life the way we fucking want to and drive into that same brick wall every single day. We never turn left. You come up to a wall, what do? You turn left or right. So this closing part is really important. So that's what we're doing here in Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop. Some of us have already kind of gotten it when we got here. Others of us haven't. Some of us are very, very new, and you don't have a chance to learn bad habits when you get here. Over to Jeff. What do you think, Jeff?
Yes, Jeff, alcoholic. Yeah, when we first get here, life is a tangle for us. We see the problems, we don't see the solutions. There's a lot of negativity. This has to reverse our thinking all around ourselves, all around, and we have to realize that the power outside of ourselves, greater than ourselves, will help us with this. But yeah, things are all jumbled when we come in here. We've been looking at things incorrectly for years, even though we might have been successful. I don't understand how that works, but that's the way it seems to be with us.
Did you see how he talked about two-stepping early on? Just do
Yeah.
step 1 and 12, and then things are constantly in crises. Your life just goes on in crises,
Yes.
Chaz.
Yeah,
And why is that
Chaz,
so? Go ahead.
I beg your pardon, Jeffrey. Thank you for sharing. Chaz, alcoholic, yes. Being in this meeting, I want to encourage everyone, as Jann does, that you are in the most important place that you'll ever be in your life, because you are being taken through the program, the 12 steps, how to do it, sponsoring each other and learning how to live a life without alcohol, a good
I'll be right
life.
there.
And when I came in, I didn't have a sponsor, so I've picked up, as Jann would know, a lot of bad habits. Only by being here in this meeting and learn to unravel those knots that are in the tapestry of my life and realize that with God's help, it says here on page 122 in what we just read, it says, when with God's help. It doesn't say with Shaz's help, it says God's help, we calmly accepted our lot. And when we realize that nothing in the world is more important than our recovery, if we put anything in front of our recovery, job, sex, relationship, whatever, sport, we'll lose it. And as Jeff
All right.
said,
Stop right there. Perfect.
yeah, thanks, Jann.
Let's see. So, hey, April, what was your last assignment?
I did the doctor's opinion yesterday, but you didn't give me another assignment.
Oh, okay.
April alcoholic.
Okay. You read the doctor's. So did I? So you should read Bill's story. That's what's next.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Do it. And then 5 takeaways tomorrow. How about you, Caleb? What was your latest assignment?
Yeah, my latest, Caleb alcoholic. My latest was the doctor's opinion. I didn't get to read it yesterday because I wasn't here. I didn't get to read my answers. If you want to hear them.
Yeah, go.
So the 5 key takeaways. Number one, cases described as hopeless can recover through the AA 12-step program, even when previous methods have failed. Number two, the body and mind is affected greatly by alcohol, and we alcoholics can be described as having an allergy to alcohol. Number three, the phenomenon of craving does not occur in the normal drinker of alcohol, only in alcoholics. And number four, emotional appeal does not work, and the alcoholic's ideals should be grounded in a power greater than themselves in order to recover. And number five, alcoholism is not a problem of mental control.
All right. So for tomorrow, read Bill's story. 5 takeaways on Bill's story. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's see here. Where is So hey, Scar, hi. This is your what, 3rd day here? We didn't give you an assignment yesterday, right?
No, this is my 2nd day here, Scar Alcoholic, my 3rd day sober, but yes, you have not given me any assignments as of yet.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Have you been to AA before?
I have not.
Oh, this is your first time here?
It is.
So Lisa is going to put up the newcomers packet for you, okay, in chat. So grab that. It has a bunch of pamphlets in there, and read the newcomers packet, okay?
Okay.
You're not going to be able to read it all tomorrow. There's like 100 pages or more, but do that for tomorrow. All right, keep coming. Lori, how about you? Have you been to this meeting before?
Lori, alcoholic. I have not.
Okay, so how are you liking today's meeting?
But I like it. I'm just kind of listening along.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, have you been to AA before?
I have not.
Oh, really? Is this your first time also?
Yes.
Oh, good. And there's the newcomers packet for you also. Do you see it there in chat?
Oh, hold on. I do. Yes, thank you.
Grab it and read some of it for tomorrow.
Okay.
What made you come to AA today?
Honestly, I had a friend who has been doing or has the app for AA and
Yeah.
shared an update of how many days she had been sober or whatever, and I asked her what the app was, and I downloaded it, and I was just looking through it and saw meetings and started scrolling through and thought maybe I didn't know that you could even do that. So it makes sense because it's
Yeah, there you
2025.
are. And you happen to land on newcomers slipper step workshop, which is
Yes.
brilliant. That's like such a smart thing to do. Come here for 5 days if you want to, and then we'll put you to work. Same thing with you, Scar. You've never been to AA before?
No, I haven't. I know people that have, and I have knowledge of it, but I've never actually gone to a meeting. I've wanted to, but just never really put it as a priority. I've looked at the website several times, and then yesterday I looked more in depth, and I'm a structure person, and I think that's what kind of kept me away from some of the meetings is the fact that I heard that it's just basically people in there sharing their story. Not that that's a bad thing, but I need a structure, a set plan in order to be successful.
Well, this is the meeting for you, because that's what we do here. We'll take you through the entire AA program in about a month and a half. We give reading and writing assignments every single day, and it works out really, really well. Let's ask Jeff. He's got 39 years. So Jeff, you like that aspect, don't you? The structure.
Jeff alcoholic stuff. I guess I do because after being in this program for quite some time, I felt because the steps were not being emphasized anymore. I felt I was around the program. Right, I was in the program, but just around something, And I could not find a meeting which was focusing on the steps. I found this, and I come here. And why do I come here? With 39 years, because I need to give it away to keep it, and I want to give it away correctly, like the steps tell me.
The other thing too is this is AA is a 12-step process. Scar and Laurie, it's a 12-step process. Teaches you how to live your life without drinking. But most meetings, as Scar pointed out, don't really teach that. They sit in there and they talk about their cats. We had several cats in the meeting today, like this one was annoying. And then I think, who else said their cat was jumping out there? Debbie's cat was jumping around. But this is not the cat meeting. All right. Over to you, Jeff. You want to read the promises?
Jeff, did you say, Jeff? Yeah,
Yeah, the
Jeff
promise,
Alcoholic.
promise is young.
Absolutely. Page 83, bottom of the page. If we are painstaking. If we are painstaking about this, I forgot it. Okay. If we are Jeff Alcoholic, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose selfish interest in selfish things and gain interest in our own fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Thank you for letting me read that.
So everybody write 5 takeaways for tomorrow on the chapter that we just read in the 12 by 12. 5 takeaways, what you got out of this entire chapter. And then be prepared to give them orally tomorrow. And the serenity prayer goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So this meeting is officially over. And if anybody has any questions, especially the new kids on the block, you can unmute and ask away, especially if you have any questions about this meeting or AA.
Hey, Jan, Teresa
Yes.
Alcoholic. I just
Yes.
wanted to confirm the pages that you had mentioned to read for 60 days. It was 60 through 63 and 86 to 88.
Yeah, that's a third step, and that's right. And yeah,
I had wrote 86 to 84, and my husband's like, that doesn't
86.
work.
Where did we leave you on the steps?
My last assignment was the doctor's opinion
Okay, and did you just give me the 5 takeaways on it
yesterday.
yesterday? Oh, so and then what? You're going to read Bill's story for tomorrow? Is that it?
I wrote it down because you gave it to the others. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we go. I can't remember everybody. You have to raise your hand. Help! Give me an assignment. All right. Well, this was too much fun. Wow, what a long chapter that was, huh? But it was a good chapter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We
Yep.
hung right in there with it. And, you know, everybody's doing extremely well in this group. So, Lori and Scar, you guys okay? How's your detox going? How are you guys been feeling?
Scar alcoholic here. Detox, it's a mental thing for me. I don't ever really go through physical. It's all mental, and I'm struggling terribly not to drink, but I still haven't. But each day it seems to get harder, and it's more of just life that's causing me to want to,
And
not.
the third day is the worst in detox, and then it'll start to decline. By the time you get to 5, it'll get a little bit better. My only suggestion to you would be continue to go to online meetings. And one meeting you might go to is the 24-hour international meeting
Okay.
of AA. Have you heard of that before? It's called, write this down. It's a 24-hour international meeting out of London.
Okay.
And it top of the hour, every hour it starts.
Okay.
So there's
I
about
went
100.
to a few yesterday. One
Listen
before.
to me on this meeting. There's about 100 to 200 people in the 24-hour international meeting in London. Every hour. So if you go in the middle of the night, there'll be people, a lot of Americans there, and it's English speaking. You will like it. Same thing with you, Lori. If you need a meeting at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's where you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
See what I'm getting at? 24-hour, write that down. 24-hour international meeting. Lori, how are you doing on your third day?
I must agree with Scar. I don't have any physical symptoms. My therapist was actually surprised about that today.
Well, what happens is it manifests mentally, but you're having physical symptoms, all right. And don't deny it. And it's like you don't think that you are, but your internal, workings are going crazy.
I
used
do
to
agree
run-
with that, yes.
Yeah,
I guess I
Right.
don't have what I think is the typical, what I would expect maybe.
I used to run the night shift at the Alcohol Recovery Center here in Boulder. Ran it for a year by myself and really got trained with this. But that can be, rough. Do you have any shaking going on the inside at all or not?
No.
Not yet. No vibrations, yeah. Well,
Mm-mm.
anyways, that's and you can always check in with your doctor. You can always check your blood pressure. Check in with your primary care. Let them know that you're withdrawing from alcohol. It's a very powerful drug. We have a tendency to downplay it in American society, which is a mistake. Alcohol is a nasty drug. And just about the time, it makes you think that you're okay. That's the darn thing about it. It's both physical, mental, psychological.
Emotional.
Yep.
Oh yeah, big time.
I have one question.
Yep.
What about sponsors? I've heard, people mention them to a point, like as we've gone through this and then.
Here, I'll explain it to you right here. We
Okay.
sponsor you right here. Okay,
Okay.
so you already have a sponsor. Bam, both of you. So we'll sponsor you. We give reading assignments. We give writing assignments. We'll take you through the entire AA program. We're a one-stop shop. You don't have to do anything. Just show up and then do the assignments.
Okay.
And
Thank
your
you.
life, and in 2 weeks,